This is the third bit with Penny, and I'm very excited, despite the fact that I feel like I've got this sort of radioactive skin going on here. I feel like the sort of moon is shining at me or something, even though it's in the middle of the day, because my face is like so bright. Anyway, we need bright faces. I'm really excited because today my Thursdays with Penny is with Lucy Matthews. I have to say the marvellous Lucy Matthews from and over the last 8 months, I have spent an intense amount of time with Lucy, which is very special to me because it enables me to really get to understand and get under the cover of why someone is an expert, why people are really believing in them and why their businesses are successful, the impact they have, but also very critically for me, it's also understanding their values, because anybody who knows me knows that business is personal. And certainly there has never been a time more than now for us to really work with people who have got great values. And now Lucy is a PR expert, and we're going to talk a little bit about Lucy's career in a minute. But I also have just joined her Marvelocity group because, like many people that I'm probably talking to, I do a lot online, but there are moments when I feel excruciatingly frustrated when I see somebody without the same passion experience as me sitting on the Good Morning Britain
yeah. That's the big one, Penny.
Or that's a big one for me. Or quoted in magazines and things. I think, come on, guys, why aren't I there? And the reason I'm not there is because I never invest in my PR, my offline stuff. So we're going to talk about that, and I'm really excited about this. So welcome, my lovely friend and incredible Lucy.
Thank you, and thank you very much for having me on. And I too have an awful lot of light coming in from outside, but there we are. Half my face is.
You can see Thomas behind me there.
Yeah. I'm going to bring a blind down while we're talking. Just very
quickly share with everyone, because I always say there's the advice we give, but everybody would love some advice, but it's the credibility we have to enable us to give that advice that I think is really important. That's sort of the longevity and passion that we've put into our work, and also some of the assets we've created and the way we've made a difference. So tell me a little bit about PR, about you, about what you do.
So where I come from. So I've actually been doing this for a very, very, very long time. So I fell into PR because I ended up selling advertising. I wanted to be an actress, surprise, surprise. And I couldn't go to drama school because my parents wouldn't let me. I went to university instead. Lovely, did a drama degree, but came out of that, didn't want to go, didn't want to do it anymore. So I sold advertising space, realized that I couldn't ask for the deal. I could do the whole thing. I learned this Dipper thing over the phone where you warm the client up, you ask them lovely things, you find out exactly what they want, you tell them all about your magazine, and then you ask for the sale. And I couldn't ask for the sale. So I had to leave, obviously, and ended up in a PR company because I realized that what I was doing and what I was good at was I'm good at communicating. I'm good at finding out what people want and matching it with the right thing, but without having to deal with sales. And that's what PR is all about. And ever since then, that's what I've done for 35 years. And what it is, and why everyone should be doing it, and a lot of us are doing it anyway, but I think we need to sharpen up and have a PR mindset on it. It's all about saying, so who am I trying to communicate this message to? And who are they? How do they receive their information? And therefore, how do I make my message right for them? And it is really straightforward, but so many people don't get, they get that, but they don't realize that that's PR. And so that's what I've done. And so I've worked for large agencies, small agencies over the 35 years. I had a wonderful gap when I had my 3 children, and then I slinked back in again because I can't help myself, because I slinked back in the first place because I was on the PCA of my children's school, and the school wasn't doing very well, and we were told that it wasn't doing very well because we weren't getting enough pupils. And I said, well, are you doing any marketing? And he went, are you offering, Lucy? And I said, yes, I am. And within 18 months, the school had doubled. And literally, it was purely from doing PR.
Yeah.
And there we are.
Also, it's amazing, isn't it? Because you and I sit in a room with other experts, 11 other experts in the room.
Yeah.
And most people really find it hard to sell.
Yes.
Whereas PR creates that warm audience where people come towards you, and that's just so. And we've got experts.
Wonderful, Penny. Because what you're doing, you're asking someone else to say, you are doing it for me amazingly. This is pure PR what we're doing today. Because you've I should have said that when we started. You summed it up. Because so what you've done is to say to your audience, who are my audience, because everyone should be doing PR, you're saying to them, here's someone who, in fact, if you're that way, yeah, there I am. Here's someone who is an expert at what they do. I believe in her. Otherwise, I wouldn't have introduced her to you, my audience. That's pure PR. And so basically, I don't have to sell myself because, in fact, if I did, your audience would go, "Ooh, I don't like her very much." Whereas what you're doing is just saying, "Look, I'm giving you some information. This is nice. This might work for you. Now you go away and think about it." And that's what journalists do. That's what when you sponsor an event, which is all PR, people go away thinking, well, they're nice, aren't they? Because they've spent quite a lot of money putting this event on. I might just support them myself.
Yeah.
You know.
So on top of all the work you do, and I know I want to get into, I've got some questions around that in a minute, but just to sort of wrap up this session, you've got now, I was explaining that I've given my book to somebody else to read, so I actually had to print off the cover.
What an enormous book, Penny.
I know, it's like I've got a manual in front of me now, but it is a normal size book. But a marvelous reputation, 10 lessons from my life, PR inside of entrepreneurs who want to be talked about. So that's absolutely brilliant. So that's available on Amazon. And I think we're going to talk now about, I'm going to ask you a few questions about other ways that we can see you can support entrepreneurs, especially at this time. So in your experience, Lucy, which is rather huge for such a young lady, in your experience, why doesn't everybody do PR? What are the blockers around it?
Oh, it's so interesting, Penny. It's so interesting. So literally, precisely 8 and a bit years ago, I moved kind of from working just with big organizations, which is what I've always done. I've worked with just big companies who get PR, actually, because they probably have a PR department or at least a marketing department, and they understand that they need PR. And I went into the entrepreneur world, the small business world, for myself, because I wanted to work out how my own business could be marketed. And I wanted to change from being a consultant who was only paid for the hours I do, which is what a lot of people listening to this will be, into actually having a sustainable business that I could put away from, and eventually someone else will run it. And so I went to do that. And I realized I was in this big organization with these hundreds of thousands of people, they didn't use PR. And it was it's just like a paradox, because the PR is the one thing that they can do for free. And I just couldn't believe that people weren't doing this. And they were spending money on Google AdWords at no disrespect. They're great too. All these things are great. But PR can be free. And why I think they weren't doing it was because the paradox is that they were thinking, oh, it's for the big boys. They say this to me. People say it to me. I'll do it when I've got some money, Lucy. I'll do PR. PR's for people like Richard Branson. It's for people like, these big organizations. And I say, fine, but if you look in your sector, all our sectors, the people who are doing the best, who are just like you, Penny, when you switch on the bloody radio on the television, and there they are on that sofa being quoted, and you think, hang on a minute, I'm just as good as you. They have been doing PR, as you say. And if they can, and what I realized suddenly with all these people was you can do it yourself, but you don't know what to do, which is why I wrote my book. And I just thought, you can do it. It can be, obviously it's better because it is time consuming to take on people like us, which is why we have a job. But you don't have to take on people like us. You can, as long as you slot it into your routines, and it will work for you. So that was the thing. I just thought people don't do it because I think they think, and also it has a very bad name. So it's all fluff, it's all ab fab, it's people just swanning around drinking Prosecco and sending stories. And it's not like that. I've never worked like that.
So we had some great chats about this because I have dallied in the past, but I know that, and what's very poignant at the moment is you started working about 5 months ago, all in this, we were talking in the mastermind group about how do we go online with what we're doing, not just to build a business model that's successful for us, but so that you can reach others that can't necessarily afford a PR and has got some time to do it themselves and wants to do it themselves. So I'm really excited because I think in a sort of where that falls into me, I'm like that. So I signed up to Marvelocity and I'm paying my £30 a month.
Come on.
I have to say, we were really whooping up with great excitement in the mastermind group because everybody is loving it. It's an incredible, but it's very seamless as well. That's what I was so impressed with from the moment I went to the site, all the way through to the payment system, all the way through to the materials, the resources that link into the Facebook group. I loved it, Lucy. So tell us a bit more about the Marvelocity group that's going to allow people to pay a very small amount of money and get their PR.
Okay. Well, the premise of it is what I'm saying is that we need to put into our routines. See, I learn all my online stuff from you, and I know that to be famous online, you've just got to keep going. You've got to keep showing up. You've got to put stuff out there, and PR is the same, but what you're aiming at with PR is that when when people find you online, they can think, well, yeah, you would say that, wouldn't you, Lucy? Because this is you. I want to just find out, are you an expert? I want to know, sorry, something's come leaping up on my screen here. I want to suss you out. They will Google you, and when they find that your articles are mentioned on websites and in newspapers and magazines that people they trust, then you'll get that trust behind you. So what Marvelocity is it's a combination really of mentoring, of accountability, of support, of resources, of brainstorming for people, for all of you, for everybody who needs to be doing PR for £30 a month, which I do think isn't very much. So basically it's me and my team I'm obviously an employee of Marvellous PR, but we're free. My colleagues are freelance PRs who've been in the industry for many, 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 many years. And we're all in the group too. And the idea is that you can come to us anytime. You put stuff in this group that says, well, you know what, I'm wondering whether I should launch this or say that. Is this a good story? I mean, obviously at the moment, the news is all about the virus, but a couple of hours ago I was on a Zoom call with a client saying, you know what, you should not, that the virus is it's a massive thing to all of us. So yes, you write something from that's about it that's relevant to your audience. So like for you, Penny, and this is all like we can be using online, we can still be learning stuff and get that as an article in the right medium that your target audience are watching. So that kind of thing, I'll be there to help with ideas. We'll also have twice a month, we'll have Zoom calls where we're going to all come together and I'll be there literally helping and pointing in the right direction. We'll be learning about all the various tools that there are masses of PR tools. It's not just about dealing with journalists. And then
what is the URL for people?
So the URL is marvellouspr.co.uk/Marvelocity, which is marvelous and then ITY. So Marvelocity. And that should get you there. marvellouspr.co.uk/Marvelocity.
Yeah. And I know in your terms, people can try it, experience it. I think people will stay because, I'm already wanting to go into that group and get that crowd of advice rather than just the advice of one person, which I think that's really powerful.
The other thing I think about groups, obviously we have it in your mastermind group, everyone's experiencing things slightly differently, and they're all coming with an idea. So you can think, I want people to come into the group, listen to what other people are doing, and then think, do you know, I could maybe do that in my world. And I've done that for, you know, all my career. I've always been a consultant. So I take what you're doing and I link it to what you're doing. And, you know, it's share.
So I love that. So if I now move on to this, you know, people rave, you know, so many times, Richard Branson, you did it, you know, use him as an example. And we sort of think, well, they've got loads of money. But I know that you want to, your passion sits with the smaller business.
Oh,
really.
Yeah, totally.
Across lots and lots of sectors, haven't you? So have you got examples of people that you've helped, or any studies?
Absolutely. I've got a lovely example, two. So I'll give you two examples. So one is happening at the moment. And so these are ladies that I mentor, again, in the Smart Publicity world. They run day nurseries for children. And one of them, well, none of them had ever done PR before. One of them has absolutely taken it, you know, literally this is what she does every week. Make sure she does her events, or she does her bits and pieces, and she writes a press release and she sends it to the journalist, and she's worked with the journalist, and she sponsors things. She does all the things that I tell her to do. And she's just, the numbers are just, I mean, sadly right now I have to say things are on hold, but let's just say that as of a month ago or a couple of weeks ago, her numbers had never been as good.
Yeah, that's brilliant. The internet's just gone a little bit challenged. Just a minute, just let's hold. Oh, you've gone away for a minute, Lucy, but I know that everybody's going to forgive that, because BT is, or whoever you're with, is very strained at these times. So that is a really lovely example. And I think you're right. And I think I have a feeling that a lot of stuff's going to go local. So we have to remember the local newspapers, the local radio stations as well, because local is so important. And I also think that that's going to be one of the great outcomes that come from this, these unintended benefits that come from this, where people are going to want to build their local economies and stay more local as a result of this. So I love that. Let's all get our PR right, and that's important.
Yeah.
So I know that you will also know why it fails. So there'll be some people that are listening that are saying, "Oh, I've invested before in PR, but it's failed." I'm afraid to a certain extent, I'm a bit like that. You know, what are some of the reasons that PR can fail?
Well, it is sad, and I have to say, I say that everyone can do it, and that's my big premise. That's why I wrote my book. That's why all my things in here saying you can do it. You can do it. However, there are people who haven't gone about it quite the right way. And I would say some of the reasons that it fails is because it's market, media, message. So if you get any of those wrong, then it's going to go. For example, you're deciding that we've all got lots of target audiences for a start, because PR is all about influencing people. So you've got your target audience, which is I'll give you an example of what I've done a lot of work in. So we've done a lot of work in the retirement development market. So with my clients, with the retirement developers, so they're basically building beautiful villages for people to retire to. So therefore, the obvious target audience is the old gentleman, old lady, mostly old ladies, I'd say. And so therefore, that's one target audience. But another one is their children, who quite like to get them into somewhere safe. Another one might be their hairdresser, who thinks, you know what, I think it would be, she seems a bit lonely, this lady. I think she could do with moving into this development, etc., etc. So we had to look at, okay, so we're looking at all these different target audiences. We're looking at where they get their information from. Who are they? What are they reading? Where are they hanging out? What do they watch? You know, what programs do they watch? And what message they want to get. So I think a lot of people, and I know this because people have told me, so this is not an assumption, they will either get the media wrong. So they'll go, you know what, I want to see myself in The Guardian because that's a good newspaper. Not realizing that their target audience, mine for this retirement world is the Saturday Telegraph, because that's the property section that this demographic read. So yes, you can put your stuff in the Guardian. Not obviously nothing wrong with the Guardian, but it's wrong for this precise target audience, and you won't get anywhere. The other thing is that you will be, certain people will tell you to send it everywhere, send your press releases everywhere, and a little bit will stick. Well, that's not what happens. Journalists don't like thinking that you've sent your press release to everybody else. Journalists are human beings like us, and they want to be treated with respect, and they want to be told, do you know what, Penny, I have a brilliant story that would suit you because it would suit your readers. So again, people get that wrong, and they might also just get the message wrong. If the message is all and it's all selly, the journalist isn't going to, think, hang on a minute, this isn't right. You're not writing it in my way. Which again, so I've spent a lot of time creating press release templates, which is in the Marvelocity resources place, to say this is how you write a press release to a journalist, so you give the journalist what they need to actually use it properly. So, and I'm afraid because PR is difficult to measure, it gets a bad name, because people will say, well, I spent 10 grand on it and I got one mention in so and so. Well, that's probably because it wasn't going in the right place. And we are really targeted in what we do, and this is how I mentor people, to say, don't bother sending things all over the place. Say to yourself, right, I want to get in that local paper. I'm going to read the paper, or Devon Live or Surrey Live, whatever. You look at, that's the other thing. People don't look properly at the media that they want to get into, and they don't read it properly. They don't understand what the journalist wants. They don't give the right tone of voice, and therefore, they lose out to someone else who has spent that time.
It's amazing.
Sorry, I sound a bit naggy now.
It's such insights, and I know, we can only give a certain amount of advice in this short period, but this Marvelocity, let's just remind people, because a few people are coming now to Lucy Matthews. We're talking about all things PR and how too many people rely just on social media and then get that frustration of, why aren't I mentioned in that newspaper, why aren't I on that breakfast sofa, etc. So Lucy's created this Marvelocity group, which I've joined and I'm very excited about. And to remind you, and we'll put the URL up here, it's Marvelocity. The group is on Facebook. You can't join it until you go through this URL, which is marvelouspr.co.uk/Marvelocity, which is marvelous with I-C-I-T-Y.
Yes.
So, Lucy, I've absolutely loved it. Can you believe how fast that's gone? That's 25 minutes we've been talking.
I can, because you and I do talk quite a lot, Penny.
I know. And you can think of a last word you might want. I love that. Marion Wilson, I printed it off this morning, her beautiful poem that I love about our greatest fear, is called Marion Wilson. And in it, she talks about it's our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. And there's a lovely phrase, which I think is so perfect for today, which is, your playing small does not serve the world. And I love that.
Say that again, Penny, because it didn't.
Your playing small does not serve the world.
Yes. So
I hope those people that have watched us live, thank you so much for being with us. I can see Carolyn and Joe and Phil and lots more people there, which is lovely. But also, if you watch this back later, please get in touch with Lucy. You can tell her energy is incredible. Her group will be fantastic. Obviously, there are all these freelance PR people that she's worked with, and her passion's incredible.
Who are
brilliant. So thank you, Lucy. You've really inspired me.
Thank you. Lovely day. Thank you.
Take care then. All right. Bye.
Bye.